One of the nice things about drafting a guy like Henry Ruggs is he runs 4.2. And the reality is, when you have a guy who runs that quickly, you just know that they're essentially bust-proof. Now, they could underperform or whatever, but Henry Ruggs was never going to be a complete and utter bust. It just wasn't going to happen because he does that one thing well. Many draft analysts, myself included though, said, well, sure, he has great speed, but that's not the only thing he's great at. However, in this Raiders offense, that seemingly was the main thing he was good at, and that was his biggest selling point, when I think we thought there would be a lot more selling points with Ruggs. So let's get into the film study and talk about both what he does well and what he does not so well, what he needs to improve on, and kind of why maybe the production hasn't been what you had hoped. Because only 452 yards last year, in my opinion, is disappointing. I know yards aren't the end-all be-all stat, but they're a pretty good stat. And part of it is he only had 581 total snaps last year, which is on the low side. For comparison, CeeDee Lamb had 731, Jerry Jeudy had 806, so a couple guys had more total snaps, but still, let's talk about what happened. So let's first talk about something like this, where we're going to talk about the positives, then we'll get into some negatives. So first, the positives are, something like this. It's very simple, but it is effective, and it is, I'd say a point in his favor is that it's going to be quarters coverage. They have a zone buster designed to beat this, where basically you have the route, it's got kind of a curl route, which hopefully gets multiple Carolina players to come in. You then have Ruggs, who's currently lined up on the offense's left, run all the way to the right. Hopefully he gets open. And watch how well it works. Carolina totally fooled by this play. Both guys do bite, and that means that Henry Ruggs gets wide open, is able to make the catch, nearly gets into the end zone on that one, ends up being about a yard short. Really good play. And I think some people will argue, well, sure, I mean, he got a big play, but isn't that mostly scheme? And yes, it is. It is mostly scheme, but he did his role there, which was have the speed to just get open quicker. When you run these types of plays, there's two things. One, it takes time for someone to get open downfield, which means the quarterback has to have time to make that throw. And also, defenses can react, but if you get there quicker, it makes things more difficult for them to react. So little stuff like that, he did that very well. To go one step further, we can talk about something like this, where this is actually going to be a disguise from Kansas City. They're only showing one safety deep, but that is not what they are doing. They're actually going to have a cover 2, and then Ruggs is going to be running a deep route. Ruggs' route would work a lot better if it's a cover 1 or cover 3. If there's a single safety deep, then obviously he can't really get over, but with two safeties deep, that should make things a little bit more difficult for Ruggs. However, the fact that Kansas City is disguising here, that might be a little bit more beneficial for the Las Vegas Raiders. And watch how right when this play starts, you see that, okay, so the safety starts to get back. He does notice this, takes him a second longer because of the disguise, but he does notice Ruggs is running deep now. And at this point, a slower receiver would probably still not get open, or maybe they would, but it would take like a perfect throw. Ruggs, however, because he is great at these types of routes, is going to get more open. As you see, he gets wide open, and even though this is kind of a little bit of a, I would say a little bit of a short throw from Carr, he could have thrown it a bit further, Ruggs was still able to make the contested catch. Now, I will say, contested catch is not exactly his best quality. One of the things that was a real negative I saw was he doesn't have the best catch radius, so, that hurts a little bit, but he has the speed to give him more separation, so it kind of works out. Now let's go over to this play. So I talked about how Derek Carr underthrew that one a little bit, and you might have thought, that's odd. Derek Carr, usually one of the more accurate deep ball throwers, even though he doesn't get asked to do that too often. And I would say that Derek Carr is one of the more accurate deep ball throwers. I think the concern is I think there's a chemistry issue with Ruggs and Carr. That's what I've seen. And I don't know if it's Ruggs' fault. I don't know if it's Carr's fault, but I'm pretty sure it's not an arm talent thing with Carr because his deep ball accuracy is very good, which leads me to believe that it's probably a chemistry issue of some kind. And this play is a good example of that. You see the route, it's going to work. Like, watch. As you see, just kind of works out. And now for Ruggs, he is going to be, easily open. I mean, at this point, for Carr, I mean, basically you can throw this shallower anywhere you want. There's a huge window to make this type of throw, but it seems like the route itself is designed to go a little bit further deep down the field, whereas Ruggs kind of wants to cut a little bit underneath because he's more open there, but Carr is currently throwing. So they're just kind of not on the same page right here. Because of that, Ruggs cuts in a little bit, but then the ball goes a lot further deep. Ruggs probably makes that catch if he was, sticking with the route. And it's kind of one of those things where just not being on the same page can have some huge consequences. Honestly, that's how interceptions happen, because the defensive back who's further deep could then not have anyone to worry about and get back and get the interception, which would have been horrible, obviously. So that is a bit concerning, but at least with that, there's the hope that they could sort of work out those kinks. They didn't have a preseason, and Ruggs was banged up a little bit early on in the season, which can really hurt. It's tough to not have a preseason if you're a wide receiver, so maybe they'll get some time, more practice now to kind of, again, work things out and make things a little better. Now, moving on to a play like this, one of the key things that we talked about that could have been, we were talking about as a huge deal when the Raiders went out and drafted Ruggs is, think about all the yards after the catch he'll get, because that's a big part of what this Jon Gruden offense is. That didn't really happen too much, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why, because I see plenty of talent. The talent didn't really match the production for me, and I'm not sure if it's a volume thing or what. But on this play, he's going to fake as though he's running over the middle, then get to the outside. And in fairness, it looks like there is going to be a bit of a cross-up with Tampa Bay. But watch Ruggs and watch his footwork right here. Cuts over, and then he's able to cut really well. And again, Tampa Bay, they try to switch. They screwed it up mid-switch, so that resulted in the bigger gain. But that's a really good play from Ruggs still. Even if there wasn't the screw-up in coverage, I still think Ruggs gets a ton of yards on that play because of his good footwork. And it just makes me feel like that can work in the NFL, and I don't know why it didn't work more, quite frankly. I think a lot of his issues can be talked about with something like this, where what's going to end up happening on a play like this is, this is a kind of situation that actually should be great for Ruggs. It's a deeper route in man coverage. Carlton Davis is covering him, which Tampa Bay fans have been clamoring about. Carlton Davis is the guy who really good at the short range stuff, but can get burned with speed. So you're thinking, hey, Henry Ruggs against Davis, this is a great situation. You should look his way. This could work. But then as you see, so it's going to be a play action, but Ruggs just never really gets open right here at all. There was a flag away from the play, so it wasn't the end of the world. And again, not much separation mixed with not the best chemistry with Carr and not a huge catch radius. It's going to be really difficult for Carr to be able to make those types of throws and get those gains right there. And so there was a little bit of separation, just not a ton. And the biggest reason, I think, is because you watch what he does at the line. I'll show it a couple times, but what he does on his first step is basically nothing. I mean, he just takes a step forward and it just starts running. And I would like to see him try to be better at the line. Make some moves, use your hands. This is something that you actually will see a decent amount from college players who were so explosive, is basically every time someone lined up in press, he could just run past them and he would get wide open and get a catch because he just wasn't going up against that much talent. Now that you're going up against better talent, make some moves, help yourself out a little bit. That's probably the biggest takeaway I have that he needs to improve on. And also, I just think some of the sort of yards after the catch stuff have, clogged up and not been as big of a deal with him, simply because it's the NFL and guys don't give up as much separation and guys make their tackles quicker. So that's probably a huge part of it as well. And like I said, he's not going to end up being a complete awful player. Worst case scenario, you have a really good deep threat. There's worse things in the NFL to have than that. But I also see him being an effective player next year. Aguilar took a lot of the snaps that he probably would have got. I think without Aguilar, he probably has, closer in yards totals to like a Jerry Jeudy. But because of, that kind of competition, it was a little bit more difficult for him. So yeah, should be interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Henry Ruggs? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.